Hi, welcome back. So we have a dinner party to go to tonight, and I don't have much time to put together what we're supposed to bring. We have a request to bring our favorite spicy cold sesame noodles. What's great about these noodles is that there are these layers of flavors that are in the noodles. They start out cold, so that's kind of the first sensation. And then they get sweet, and then there's a nutty flavor, and then they finish off hot. So all the way from cold to hot with stuff in between. So what we're going to do is get our pasta going here. The pasta should be cooked al dente, which means that it's going to be a little bit chewy. You can use any kind of pasta, but if you're in a hurry, you're going to use thin spaghetti, you're going to use linguine. If you have extra time, you could certainly do the fettuccine, or you could do the elbows, things that take a little bit longer. But we don't have that much time, so we are going to use spaghetti. And we're going to make this enough for kind of an appetizer for 4 to 6 people, I think. So I'm going to use about 8 ounces of pasta, raw pasta, or uncooked pasta. Maybe a little bit more, just because I like it, so we'll make some extra here. Let's get this out of the way. So this is spaghetti, and I'm going to break this in half, just like that. I've got some boiling water here, and I'm going to drop this right in, and for the first 5 seconds or so, I'm going to give this a stir. And that will just make sure that the pasta doesn't stick together. Okay, you don't have to put oil into pasta to keep it from sticking together, because what happens is the pasta will hit the hot water, and after the first few seconds, the water actually will seal the surface of the pasta. And so it won't stick to itself. All right, but if I just put it in and let it sit, it will it'll clump. And I'll give it a little stir from time to time. So our water is boiling with our pasta, and I'm going to prepare the vegetables that will go into this. We're going to cheat a little bit. I'm going to go fast. I've got this really cool slice and dice machine, so it does everything really quickly. And I'm going to start by dicing up some pretty onions, and I'm going to use some red onions. They're a little milder, and so we'll just put that right in. We'll put 2 of them in, and we'll just dice those babies up nice and fast. That's great. And let me just give this a quick stir here. And we'll do the rest of these onions. So we've got super diced onions, and we're going to dice in some sweet red pepper for a little color. So what I like to do is I just cut that pepper in half, and we'll just rip out the center, just like that. And let's put that right in there. So let's take a look here. Yeah. So it's going to smell great, taste great.
Hold it still.
Oh, hold it still. Sorry about that. All right. So you can see that. So let me put that over there. The last thing we'll chop up will be some green onions. These are greens from our walking Egyptian onions. But you can use scallions if you have chives. Those are nice. I'm cutting those into like 1/8 inch size pieces. It's nice to have a sharp knife there. All right. So I should taste these now just to make sure that they're not overcooking. I know they're not quite done, which is fine. Boy, they're slippery, guys. There we go. Got one. I can tell. All right. I think another 2 minutes. That'll be good. So while we're waiting for that, what we'll do is mix up the dressing. This is a pasta salad, so we're going to mix up our dressing. You remember that I said there would be a nutty flavor, a sweet flavor, and there'd be followed by some heat. So here's our nutty flavor. It's going to be tahini, which is sesame, which is pureed sesame seed. And if you can get the liquid version, it's going to save you a lot of steps. So I'm going to put in about 1/4 cup of the tahini. If you have one that's more like peanut butter, what you're going to need to do is you're going to have to add some sesame oil, and you're going to have to put that through a blender to get that to that liquid consistency. And to that, we're going to add some spicy sesame oil or hot sesame oil. And we're just going to add, so this is kind of depending on how you like this. 1 teaspoon is going to be 3 stars. And then for each added teaspoon, you're going to add a star in terms of heat. So we're going to go tonight, we'll just go with the 3 because we don't want everyone to get overheated here. So there's about 1 teaspoon. And we'll just mix this up. And it is tempting to taste it, but since I'm on video, I won't. We'll taste it at the end, and we can always add more heat if we want. So that mixes up really easily. The sweet is going to be 1/4 cup of sugar. And we'll add that sugar as we're draining and cooling off the noodles. And just so I don't have to fight anymore with these slippery noodles. I'll grab one here. Yep, that's almost ready. The worst thing you can do is overcook your pasta, so you don't want to do that. So another minute there, I'll explain what I'm going to do. When these are done, I'm going to drain my noodles in here, and then I'm going to transfer the noodles to some ice water that I have right here. All right, so there's ice cubes and water. So that's going to basically stop the cooking process, and it's going to cool my noodles off. I have some spare cold water here in case I need it. And then what will happen is I'll drain these, and the noodles will still be a little bit wet. So that is when I'll add the sugar. And you want to do that so that the sugar can dissolve. You don't want it to be gritty. So let's go through that process. So I'm gonna do one more taste here. There we go. Grab one of these guys. And that is perfect. Nice and a little bit chewy. All right, here we go. How hot is that? Whoa, that's hot. Excuse me. All right, I'm gonna kill the heat here. So we're done with the cooking process. So we'll just pour these right in. All right, those are gone. And just to save my ice water a little bit, I'll rinse these with some cold tap water. Oh yeah, these are cooled right off, but they're going to be colder. And we'll just put those right in, just like that. So that's cold. Very cold. And I am not going to need my extra ice water, which is fine. But you want to give it a, let it kind of absorb that cold or give up the heat, for a couple minutes, because the center of the pasta is going to still be warm. All right, so we'll drain this. Nice. And let's put in our sugar. And the best way to make sure this gets all mixed in is with your fingers, because you can kind of feel when the sugar has completely dissolved. Again, you don't want it to be gritty. If you're in a real hurry, you could use confectioner's sugar. There we go. So this is mixed in, all dissolved. That's great. All right, so here's our sesame, our tahini mix with the spicy sesame oil. There we go. And let's mix this in. So this is where we get to taste it. It's not a heavy dressing, but it definitely has a lot of flavor. So we'll grab one of these guys. Yum. It's a little warm at the end, but not too warm. So what I like to do is I'm going to put in my my green onions and my scallions, and what I'll do is as I put that in, I'm going to bruise it. So I'm just kind of giving it a little squeeze as I put this in. There we go. Some people will use herbs as well. So you could, you know, chop up some basil, which is nice. And you could put in some cilantro. Chopped up cilantro is good. And so now we'll add some color here. So let's put in our mixture of finely chopped onions, red onions, mild onions, and some sweet red pepper. And yep, you could use spicy pepper if you want. So we'll mix this right in. It looks nice. Looks very refreshing. Diced up cucumbers are good, would be good here as well. Give it a little crunch. All right. And the last thing we'll add will be some sesame seeds. We'll mix those in. And this is a mixture of black and toasted sesame seeds. You can't buy them this way. What I do is I buy a container of black seeds and a container of the toasted seeds, and I mix them together. So I have another whole container of this. There's also wasabi coated sesame seeds. So they're green, which is great, but we're not putting them in now. All right, so we'll sprinkle these guys in. Okay. All right. So let me get my right here. All right. So let's put these into a nice presentation bowl. I get to lick the bowl, so that's good. And one more quick sprinkling. And we're ready for dinner party. So should I taste it? I think I should. It's ready for prime time. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.